Hello, gathered friends. This is Spider, and welcome back to another review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Lego Bionicle Onua, which is set number 8532. It's kind of funny because last week we took a look at Pohatu, who was set number 8531. Accidental sequential order. I did not mean to do that. Anyways, this set released way back in 2001. And without further ado, we'll get into things. Now, I usually start off my reviews by taking a look at the packaging, but I don't have Onua's. So we'll take a quick look at Tahu's to kind of get an idea what it will look like. So here we have the canister the Toa came in, which is not your usual Lego packaging. You have a plastic canister, which is pretty cool. You also have the top with a classic Bionicle face, and that's pretty much it for that. Now the set also originally came with a poster, but I also don't have that. But I do have the instructions, so we'll take a quick look at that. Focus up here on the picture here of Onua digging underground in the tunnels, or digging tunnels in the mines, or whatever word I'm speaking. A very nice picture of him doing that, and he also has some steam coming out of the vents, maybe? I don't know, I actually just now noticed that. Anywho, you open up the instructions, and you see cool visual showing you where the Toa come from, and then you have the rest of the instructions telling you how to build Onua, and then you have the back tells you how to build something we'll talk about very soon, but not today. And then you have the back of the instructions showing off all the other Toa masks and how you can put them on the top of the canister if you so wished. So that's pretty much it for that. On to the figure. So here we have Onua, the Toa of Earth. And we'll start things off by taking a look at his articulation. Now unfortunately there's nothing at the head, but the shoulders, or arms, or whatever, are on ball joints. They can move a decent amount forward, pretty good amount back. They can move out a little bit, and because they're on ball joints, they can rotate and move all around like that. Now the legs are also on ball joints. They can move a little bit forward, a little bit back, can go all the way out. Of course, can rotate. Foot can rotate, can go up, can go way down, and then you get a nice little tilt. So the articulation, unfortunately, like all the other classic Toa, is quite a bit limited, but due to all the joints being ball joints, still can get some pretty decent poses out of him. And he does have some pretty good movement in his arms, which is where you want most of the articulation for this figure, because Onua is known for going around in mines and digging stuff, so you want some nice movement in your arms, which you can get. So that's pretty much it for the articulation. Now on to... I'm smacking the figure around. Sorry, Onua. We'll move on to the details. So we'll bring it a little closer in here. Bring up the camera just a tad. And we'll focus in on that face. Or I guess it's not really his face, but his mask. So you have Onua's mask, which looks very, very nice. I really do like the original 6 masks that Lego made for the Toa. They look very, very cool. A lot of the other masks they made later were kind of hit or miss for me, but the original 6 just look so cool. You get some nice vents on the side, obviously 2 eye holes and a little mouth in the middle. And you can pop that off and get a look at his face underneath. Put the mask back on. And he does have some nice green eyes, and because you have some translucent bit back here, it means you can take a flashlight and shine it through the eyes and make it look like they are glowing. Ooh. And I think the choice of color here works very well, because Onua is mostly these darker drab colors, so to have these piercing green eyes to go along with that really, really works well. So I think green was an excellent choice of eye color for Onua, in my opinion anyways. Then you got his arms. You have the same arm is Tahu, at least one of the arms Tahu had. And you have these claws, which look quite nice. And an interesting thing about the claws is that the instructions tell you to put them in sideways. Even though pretty much all of Onua's appearances, the claws face forward like that. And even on the in front of the instructions, it also tells you to have them facing forward. So I don't know why it tells you to build it like that when everything else tells you to have them like this. No, it's just an interesting little hiccup I thought I'd mention. Then you have the rest of Onua, which for the most part is pretty much built like all the other Toa, especially the legs. I think all of the Toa have basically the exact same leg build. However, his neck is built a bit different. If you see here, most Toa, their neck starts about here, but Onua's connects way down here, which gives him more of a shorter, almost hunchback kind of look to him, which is an interesting choice. Kind of neat they did that. Odd choice, but hey, it does give Onua kind of a unique feel to him. And I do appreciate that LEGO tried to do that with pretty much all the Toa. Like, all 6 have something about them that makes them a little bit different than the others. Whether it be different pieces or a different way to build them. It's pretty cool. I like that they try to make them all feel unique. You know, makes it feel like you're not just buying the same figure 6 times over, just with different colors. So I appreciate that. So that's pretty much it for the design, and overall he does look quite nice. And due to the way they built his neck, it actually does make him the shortest of the Toa. Goodness, I'm having trouble speaking today. So yeah, I don't know why they chose to make Onua the short one, but they did. Whatever. Now, Onua does have a gimmick that reflects how he combats and lives, and that is, you have these gears all up in the back here. And when you move them, it moves his claws, so it looks like he's either slashing or digging and getting rocks out of his way. And something... Oh, jeez, I am bumping everything today. Goodness. Something that I noticed that someone else had shown off is that if you grab the gear by this bit and move them, the arms move quickly. But if you grab it by this, it makes the arms move slower. I never noticed that before. So yeah, depending on where you grab it, his arms will move at different speeds. That is very interesting. Learn something new every day. At least I do. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Onua and his gimmick, which is pretty cool, you know. Typical Toa thing, just move the arms around, which is pretty simple, but effective. Anyways, having too much fun with it, gotta review it. So that's pretty much it for the gimmick. It's nice. Now, of course, Onua has the Pakari, which is the mask of strength, which makes Onua physically the strongest of the 6 Toa. What I think is interesting is that Onua is also the shortest and the wisest Toa, which means he completely goes against the typical big, dumb, strong guy archetype. Because usually if you have a team of heroes and one of them is the strongest, they're probably the biggest and the dumbest, or at least not very bright. But Onua doesn't fall into that category. He completely goes against it. Which I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it was just an accidental happenstance. But it's a neat little detail. I thought I'd point out. Now, also one of the quests of the Toa is to search for their golden mask. But Onua does not have to search anymore because I have it right here. So here we have the golden Pakari mask, which looks quite nice. Let me pop off Onua's old mask and put on the golden one and see how that looks. And that doesn't look half bad. And if you want, Onua can actually hold that. Hang on, come on. He can hold his old mask. Yeah, you can still put the claw on. You can just put it on the back like that. So you're gonna have Onua walking around holding his old mask, or you could have him hold the gold one if you want. So that's kind of all I've got to say about the figure. So now we should move on to the size comparisons. So to start off the size comparisons, as always, here he is with a Lego minifigure. The Packet Destruction minifigure Mothra. The Packet Destruction minifigure Godzilla. Now on to some more relevant size comparisons. Here he is with the McDonald's Bionicle Mari, New Peru. Yes, I think that's his name. I always forget. Here he is with his brother, Tahu Mata. Here he is with his other brother in the previous review, Pohatsu, the Toa of Stone. And if any of you are wondering what the difference between Earth and Stone is, I'm not quite sure. I don't really know why they have a Toa for both, because they're kind of the same. Although I guess they do have a Toa of water and a Toa of ice, and ice is just frozen water. So I guess if you have a Toa for water and solid water, I guess it makes sense you got a Toa for dirt and solid dirt. Stone. Whatever. Now, we're done with that. It's measuring time. Bring out the measuring tape and measure how tall Onua is. See, Onua is, well, actually focus in here. And maybe raise up the camera a little bit. You can see maybe a little bit better, a little bit. There, that's a bit better. You can see he is about 6 inches tall, which is a bit shorter than the others, as I kind of showed off. I think the others are like 6.5, if not 7, maybe. I don't remember. But anyways, that is pretty much it for Onua. And overall, he's pretty cool. I do like him. He is like the other Toa of the time. A bit dated in the articulation department, and due to his gimmick, his arms don't have a whole lot of friction. I say that as they are currently staying in place, but if you just kind of tap them, they don't really like to stay in place. There you go. You see they're kind of loosey-goosey there, so it does have some issues, but overall, it's still fun, and it's definitely nostalgic for me, so I like them. And if you wanted one for yourself, on eBay, they're going for around $20 to $40, which 40 is a bit much for this guy. If you can, I say try and get one for 20, and yeah, and if you want to try and find one that's brand new, don't even bother, because those go for like over $100, which is just no. I mean, I'm not one to tell you to spend your money, but no, it's not worth it. Especially since you don't really have to worry about these older Bionicles cracking. I mean, that's kind of the only reason you would want a newer one, is you're worried about it breaking. But I got this used, and as you can see, like, none of the joints are even starting to show signs of breaking. And they're all still nice and tight, too. Like, none of the joints are loose. So, yeah, you don't really have to worry about wear and tear on these classic Bionicle figures. It's more the ones from 2008 and onward. Those are the ones you gotta worry about them breaking and cracking and stuff. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this review. Hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more Bionicle reviews coming soon. That's pretty much it. So, see you later. Sayonara. Bye.